And we're back. It's the Most Deaf podcast. What did they say, Cindy? What did they tell us about this?
They said that we couldn't do it. We couldn't make it.
Actually, now they're saying we just shouldn't. Let's just not.
Yeah.
So, bearing that in mind, Mama didn't raise no quitter. So today, who have we got here with us? Who's our guest today?
My name is Zach Gutierrez.
Zachariah. That's so formal. It's biblical, isn't it?
Yeah.
Zach is the young stud of the directors and the filmmakers out here. You've got a project coming out very soon that's been long gestating, and that is called?
The Jewel of the Dead.
Jewel of the Dead. Wow. It's a great title, don't you think, Cindy?
It is. And I love it because it's so nostalgic, right? And it has a lot of that, obviously very much inspired by Indiana Jones kind of thing. And I really like any films that kind of make you just imagine and just want to
really imaginative title. Really beautiful. And Zach, he's a beautiful guy, big, strong man.
But yeah, tell us more about. Okay, well, first I'm gonna rewind it because let me ask you more about. I met you at Valley College, and tell us kind of how you started getting into filmmaking in general. I guess.
Yeah. So I kind of just always had a genuine interest for filmmaking, and I had done some things when I was younger with my brothers and friends and things like that, and I think high school was like I really was wanting to try for it as a career. And I had known some people who went to Valley College. They'd done a presentation at Cajon, and so I was like, okay, this is great. And so at Valley College is kind of where I really understood what goes into making a movie. Okay. You know what I mean? I thought I knew, and you'd think that it's not as much as it's involved as it really is, right? And so that's kind of where I learned the process and things, and met wonderful people.
All the greats start out doing home movies. You know what I mean? Like maybe not a great, but I was watching the Charlie Sheen documentary, and it's like the whole first 20 minutes is like, me and Sean Penn and my brother and my dad all growing up would make films on Super 8 and stuff like that, or Nick Cage would do all that stuff too, or it's like Cronenberg got his start from like a home movie, student film kind of thing. So it's like they all do it. Like that's the best base. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Is just doing it, like just having experience with the camera and learning how to talk to people to get what you want out of them.
Yeah, and I think I remember the first time understanding what like a cut is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you've got, the video camera and wait a minute, like I want to go from this shot to this shot. And I remember I would just cut the camera and then go to the next, in the camera roll or whatever. And then that would be my cut. And I remember watching Ghostbusters, and there's a scene where Slimer like goes through the wall and understanding like what that is and what that cut is. And so I would let me try and do that. And so it was just that kind of experimentation that it was fun.
I think that's an interesting point, is like if you see something and try to recreate it yourself. I like hands-on learning, and I think that's the thing you're doing is like, if I can do it, if I can take this thing apart and put it back together, on my own, then that's like probably the best way to learn to understand this kind of stuff is just to practice it. Because too, it's like, I feel like a lot of people, it's like, no, I got to put a whole set together and I got to have a shoot date. No, like you can just play with your camera, just play with stuff in your downtime, in your in-betweens, Yeah. So I think that's great. And so, like we said, this is a very Indiana Jones-ish kind of inspired thing. Well, you said your comparables are Indiana Jones meets Princess Bride, which I think is a great mix-up, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's who doesn't love both of those things? Yeah. So, and like, you'll see, when people see the film, it's coming out shortly in the next 2 or 3 months or something like that.
Yeah, actually, everybody stay tuned because we will be dropping a date pretty soon, hopefully, when we have a few movies kind of going to be playing locally. I don't want to call it premiere per se, but a lot of films that are showing.
I think what we're calling it right now internally is a showcase event.
Yes.
That's what we're working on with the DEFF. That's the next big project, so everybody stay tuned for that. But that'll be like end of Q1 probably. But like the Indiana Jones stuff, I can tell like where we shot, which was like Pioneer Town, right?
Yeah.
And how'd you find that location?
Just location scouting. I just hopped in the car one day and I kind of understood where, I might like and also geographically just logistically wanting to make sure that we weren't going too far out into in the middle of nowhere. So I knew I'd heard of Pioneer Town, so I just kind of wanted to check that out. But I found a spot just outside of it that I thought would be perfect. Just also too because it was about 15 minutes from where there'd be restrooms and things like that, because that's a huge factor on set, restrooms.
Oh yeah.
So it kind of just made sense, and I was able to pull a permit for it, pull location agreements, which made things easier. In fact, there was actually a sign for the property outside of the gate that was like for inquiries about film production, photo shoots, and everything. It was like the cars lined up perfectly.
Nice.
So it was actually kind of perfect.
That's actually great, because it's just like it's better than a billboard. You're just like, you were there, and that must mean how many other people are there scouting.
Yeah,
because that wasn't like a movie ranch either. Like that was just some property somebody owned.
No, and it was almost like that. It was like there was sections of it where you could go and it would be a total 180. Like it'd be, there was a really, you'll see in the movie that there's like a really cool high spot where you can see just the valley and the way it overlooked everything. And so that was what really attracted to me to it. And I thought, it'd be so cool to shoot here.
I loved that location too, because after we wrapped my part, I just went hiking all over it. Like, nice. Like, because I already had all the military gear on. I was like, all right, I got my Gorka pants and my cool boots and stuff like that. So, and it was just so much fun though, like, because it's all craggy rocks and stuff. And I had my dog with me who went after you.
Rest in peace, Bowie.
Rest in peace, Bowie. It's been a year, but he was he had his ups and downs. He was good and bad.
But you know what? He's in the film, so
he is. Yeah.
You know what I mean. And we'll catch a little glimpse of him. It's like, oh, there he is.
Yeah,
so that's
they brought a war Doberman with them. He was method. He was being a mean, vicious dog.
For sure.
Yeah, he had to go after the director.
I know, right?
But that was a really fun shoot. That was really cool. And that was how many shoot days?
That one, in total, it was about 6 days over the course of like a year or two.
Yeah.
Just different limiting factors that came into play. There were a lot of challenges, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you had a lot of mix of like private locations and stuff too.
Yeah.
The first day was like in the van, all that interior stuff.
Well, that was the second day. The first day was at my grandparents' house.
The fireplace.
Yes, right? The fireplace scene. And then the second day was at the van scene. So there was like locations that kind of worked out. We didn't really need to pull location agreements because either we were shooting in a house or inside somewhere. It worked out, but for sure the desert locations, and that's kind of where all out of the logistics.
Was that technically a project for Valley College?
Yeah. So I was starting it as I was finishing up at Valley, and I didn't get to finish it. And so we kind of finished it independently after I was done with my time at Valley. Yeah. But Valley was, huge help in getting this started. And so, super, super thankful,
And your brother Miles is doing the score for it.
Yes, he's doing the score for it. Yeah.
And he's at UC Irvine?
He's at Cal State Long Beach.
Oh, Orange County. Wait, Long Beach is in Orange County. Never mind. But it sounds like you're really excited about what he's cooked up, and he's been able to work on this for a good long time too. Yeah. And being able to use all his music school resources too. So it's like, what is it? Is he doing like a real John Williams thing with it too?
He is, yeah. And
I love that.
It's cool because he's getting feedback from his professors and everything that he's able to do. Like, so he'll kind of write it and then he'll send it not only to me for feedback, but to his professors for feedback. And so that's really, really cool. Because he's studying composition at Long Beach. And so he's able to really kind of utilize that and take that into advantage of being able to have so many people who do this professionally, and to be able to have that feedback is amazing. So he's gotten some really, really good notes. And so it's been cool to see that come into fruition for sure.
So did he write like orchestral stuff?
Yes. Yeah.
Did he get to use like live instruments?
Not live instruments. He's got a lot of plugins and packages and things from, I think it's Berlin something. I can't remember the exact name, but yeah, he's able to use that. And so, it's cool because he's got some assignments that he's also able to double use for it. So like he'll I've got to come up with this thing by the 15th or whatever. So I'll just use whatever I'm making for Jewel of the Dead. And so it works out. It's cool. It's really cool. You know?
Yeah, that's too. It's like this is something. Well, I don't need to give him advice, but like, it's you always need a sweetener when you're doing this. So speaking as a composer is like, if you use your plugins, if you stay in the box as they call it, try to find one violin player, try to find one cello player or something, because all you need, one condenser mic, and then you're good. So, but that's really cool that it's your brother composing for you too, because it is a real family affair. The film too,
it is.
Where it's like your dad was involved, right? At least he was on set. And then your girlfriend too. She's was your lead, which makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's so good to have people in the family that supports you. So much,
I was gonna say, well, I've met both your parents, and they're both really lovely people, and I'm sure they've kind of supported you through the hallways. Yeah. You know what I mean? Which is really nice to see that kind of. In that exists, I guess, because there's so many times like me growing up, it's like I told my parents, I really love like film and photography, and they're like, that's not a real job. Are you gonna just shoot quinceañeras like every weekend or like weddings? And I'm just like, I guess not. So I was really discouraged, and now I'm old and but I get to do what I want to do now.
Well, you're doing it.
That's really cool that your family is so supportive. I wanted to touch too a little bit about you are also a musician. In general. So when did that come, like at the same time that your interest in film was going on, or is like your family's always been kind of musical kind of thing, or how did that kind of start? Yeah,
so I think I'd gotten into it in middle school. I started taking guitar lessons at, through a program called San Bernardino Teen Music Workshop, which I work at today. It's free guitar lessons, free music lessons for anybody in the school district, and so that was really, really cool. I think I really, really enjoyed that as like a hobby, as something to do. Just extracurricular, and I think film and my music passion, I think that for sure go hand in hand, and so it's been fun being able to marry the two. Especially on this project too. I mean, my brother, we're in a band together. It's called No Jack. We play all over Southern California. We just opened up for the Village People, and so it was fun. So we get to do that together, but this is the first project that he's composing on, and so it's fun to take my musical background and his music background, and then marry that with the film career. So it's cool.
Yeah, no, I think it's really awesome that you're like a working musician. You know what I mean? Because it's one of those things, like, I know it's so difficult. And I mean, I think anything in the arts is just difficult to make a living in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is the first like year that it's been paying,
Yeah.
I think
it takes a long time for things to pay.
We've been going since 2019, and this is the first year we've got like, $500 coming in every month, and like it's so helpful,
Right, absolutely.
And so it pays off. Keep going for sure.
That does help. How many people are in the band?
10.
There's
wow.
10.
Okay.
We've got a horn line. Yeah. So
No, it's a really fun band. Like I've heard you guys before and all that stuff, and it's like it's a fun, like, it's a lot of funk and a lot of groove and stuff like that, which I really enjoy, because I feel like, especially with younger people, right? It's just like they either want to do like be some type of rapper, which is fine, nothing wrong with that, but or like very like metal or this or that, you know what I mean, very different, but like you went for the classics, which is kind of cool. I love that.
We try to find a niche that nobody's really doing, and so that's kind of proved beneficial to us, because people want to hire us for events,
right? Yeah, it's
people who are hiring us it's music from their childhood. It's nostalgic for them, so right. So.
And they got the money.
Yeah.
So. I got to do our first plug of the episode, since we brought up your dad, that every sticker and shirt and the tablecloth and any branded stuff we ever gotten is from Sergio,
Synergy,
your dad. Synergy TechNet. Everybody check him out. Camera BC.
Any print service needs,
That's right.
For sure. Make sure you got your war room set up.
If you have a legal team, you need a war room too. That's actually his main job.
Yeah. Exactly. I was gonna also talk about. So I know I remember you doing Touch and Go, your film at at Bally, and then you had a film before that though, and that one did really well too, right?
Yeah.
You won
really
something
well at Wolverine Con and a few other film festivals. It was called Airdrop. It was kind of a movie about two sides of the same coin, right? So it was a boyfriend wanting to surprise his girlfriend coming home early from a trip or something, and he was airdropping her photos of her house, trying to be all cute, and it was a whole horror movie on her end. So it was kind of playing with that idea, which was super fun.
Almost sort of like Rear Window-ish, I guess.
Yeah,
It's like someone's viewing and they catch something going on, or maybe like a conversation or blowout or something like that. Yeah. That's actually that's always a great story setup. You know, that's always a great format to follow for a story. And then I also wanted to talk about. I still haven't seen Airdrop.
Oh yeah,
I gotta watch that. Yeah,
on my YouTube channel.
Okay,
shout out your YouTube channel.
Yeah, give us the YouTube.
I think it's
channel.
it's just at Zach Gutierrez. That's my YouTube channel.
Perfect. Because I wanted to ask next about like your film after that, which is Touch and Go.
Touch and Go, yeah.
Which is it was one of my favorites when we saw it screened at the festival.
thank you.
I
thought you were gonna win. First of all, I thought you were gonna win. Okay.
Well, it's okay. I mean, it hits all the bases, which a lot of filmmakers early on don't think about. It's like it's got to be entertaining, it's got to make sense, and it can't drag on forever. You know what I mean? Because like Touch and Go is like sort of. Like comps to that, it's sort of there's definitely a Reservoir Dogs moment in there, and then definitely like cartel type stuff, right? Like what else? What other?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was really influenced by Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Yes,
and, you know, I was really interested in that at the time. I think I was going through that series.
The cars meeting up in the desert for an illicit deal kind of thing. Yeah.
So that was fun. You know, I personally really like you said, you know, movies that take audiences for a ride, and I mean, there are of course places for dramas and things where that, you know, kind of reflection, you know, that are great and everything, but that's just not really what I've found a passion for. You know, I really do enjoy making genre film and genre movies, and so
well, the other thing is that you can pull it off. You know, like it looks like it's supposed to.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
You know, it hits beats. It's tense. It brings you into it. The structure is good because you start off with. I remember watching this. I was sitting next to Miguel, and it's like the whole time you're just like, oh yeah,
Miguel
cannot see himself on screen.
Yeah.
He was amazing. Miguel was amazing.
He's great in everything he does.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's. That's a pause we're gonna have to cut. No, but yeah, like I really enjoyed that one. And so where did you end up? That was like a school project too, right?
Yeah. So that way I made that one it was a short film production class, and so we all had to make something by the end of the semester, and so that was my project, and so everybody was able. I met a bunch of people in the class, and they were able to help me out on it, and so that was the same sort of thing as Jewel of the Dead. You know, I went and scouted and just found all the locations.
Yeah, I forgot. I was gonna say I forgot I was in that one.
Yeah, you were.
I was like, because I was just trying to think. I was like, oh, I helped you like a little bit. Like I think I did like script supervising or something for like Jewel of the Dead for like half a day or something.
Oh, your daughter gets killed.
And I was like, oh
horrifically.
Yeah, I was in that. I totally forgot. I hate watching myself too.
No, you're great. You're great.
I try to block it in my mind. No, I was gonna also touch about Touch and Go. No, I'm gonna talk about you and your directing style.
Okay.
Because I really like watching you direct. I really do, because I feel like you're so involved, like even like physically involved.
You're not sitting down with the monitor and just like, okay, whatever. You know, it's like you're on your feet.
Or on the ground.
Or on
a lot of people end up on the ground in your films, is what I mean.
And that, everybody is super, super gracious, and because I do ask a lot of people sometimes,
right.
And so I'm super thankful. But yeah, no, I used to be very technically inclined as a director. I was very, the cameraman's director, and so and as I directed more, I was finding that my actors weren't really happy with me sometimes when I was just okay, what is the shot going to look like, what is this, how is this going to move, and then it Daniel and the Jewel of the Dead people like, what do you want me to do, and
but
so
what do you want?
And so that was something that comes with experience over the years, and so Definitely just stepping back and understanding, okay, the camera team's got it. You know, Paul is an amazing DP. And so just really focusing on performance and understanding, you know, that actors at the end of the day want you to know what you want and they want your ideas to be good.
Yeah. Right.
And so, and being able, and then also too, that gives them confidence as well. And so you'll get better performances at the end of the day. And so that's a hard lesson, you know, I had to learn, but I'm definitely working on it in my directing style for sure.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, it's like I always say, directing is delegating. It's like you may be the guy with the knowledge about the camera and you may have the shot constructed in your head, but it's your job to relay that to the DP to make it happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's your job to relay things to the actors because you can't act for them, right? You can't,
hiring people that do, you know, better job than you do, you know, at that specific thing, you know, and I think that's what really helped with Jewel of the Dead and all of the movies that I've you know, directed before is, you know, people are giving their 100% at what they do. You know, Miguel and Sam on sound, and that's what they do. Paul and you know, Eddie and Monet on camera, like that's what they do. You know, and so being able to find those people early on was such a huge blessing, and it's really really cool that I've been able to meet you guys and everything, and so it's been fun. You know.
So you've been in Jewel of the Dead world for a long time now, and I know you're thinking about things to do next too. And it's like I'm not going to make you spill the beans, but it's but it's that you're thinking about it, right? You're like, okay, I still know the next step I got to take too. Yeah. And so
I mean that would be it's called Lurk. I'm currently developing it as a feature, my first feature film that I'm wanting to direct and write and direct, and so I've got a proof of concept. Ready to go, and I know there's back and forth whether proof of concepts are worth it or not, but in my particular case, I think it is, and being able to take that and then use that to be able to produce the feature film. Yeah.
I want to throw that to the audience too, because like, hey, everybody watching, and do you think if you're going to make something, should you make a short proof of concept of it first? Have you seen instances of that? 6, 7. Has anybody seen that work out like that? Like people intended to? Because we've all heard about like Whiplash, you know,
and I mean Lights Out by David F. Sandberg. Who, he was able to make that into a feture film, and so it just different case scenarios where it has worked out for people, it hasn't worked out for people. But I think I won a micro grant from the Arts Connection, which was super, super amazing. I'm super thankful for that, to be able to produce Lurk as a proof of concept. And so I'll be using that grant to be able to produce it. But also, too, I think as my first feature, I want to be able to play in that world first before I dive head into it. And so I think having that as a proof of concept, as first, to be able to play around with ideas and, okay, maybe this doesn't work, this works, it might be kind of cool and might be good, in the long run for it, so.
Okay, I'm jumping back a little bit, but since Jewel of the Dead is inspired by Indiana Jones, which is your favorite Indiana Jones film?
Okay, I've got a hot take.
Oh.
Let's go.
Raiders of the Lost Ark is my favorite Indiana Jones film, and I know you're not going to like this, but Kingdom of the Crystal Skull deserves more credit than it gets. All right,
explain. Okay. I want you to get a chance to stand on that. Tell me why.
If you watch Dial of Destiny, so you should watch it. Okay, and there is a clear difference in the way James Mangold approaches directing than Steven Spielberg. Yeah. I think there are a lot of story issues with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but the set pieces are fantastic. Yes, Shia LaBeouf is swinging with monkeys, but the whole nuke scene, and I mean, come on, and the whole there's a chase scene through I don't know what the name of the town is, but Shia LaBeouf's riding a motorcycle and Indy's hanging off the side of it. I mean, like. Yeah. There are scenes in that movie and then moments that are truly, truly great. And I feel like, especially going through what Indy was going, so he starts in the 40s, And he's getting into the 50s where sci-fi, you know, I mean, it was just the natural direction where it would go. I mean, he hadn't tackled aliens before, you know, he tackled spirits, and he tackled, you know, a lot of biblical things. But I think as the world, and that's also what Dial of Destiny, you know, tackles with too in the 60s as it moves. But I mean, it also has to do with nostalgia. Came out in 2008. That was one of the first movies I saw at the drive-in with my parents and my family, and so that also has a lot to do with it. But yeah, no, I really like Kingdom, and I think, but you know, at the end of the day, Raiders of the Lost Ark is my favorite for sure.
Yeah, I guess the 50s thing doesn't sit well with a lot of people because there's like Indiana Jones has always been an exploitation of the things that Lucas and Spielberg liked as kids, which was like adventure serials, like radio stuff, like the Dashing Adventures.
Exactly. Yeah.
And or like The Shadow or The Phantom and stuff like that. Have you ever seen The Phantom?
I have not. No.
With Billy Zane? Okay, that's recommended watching for everybody. Yeah. Like you're gonna flip about how much you love that movie, because if you love the set pieces and the sets and the props and all the set design and all the period stuff there too. Oh man, it's like Indiana Jones, but like more of a superhero kind of movie. It's so good. Cindy, you haven't seen that before, have you?
No, I don't think so. But I was just gonna comment real quick because you're talking about like how the set design and this and that, and I'm also just a big fan of all those little things. It might not be like the best movies, like for example, like Batman. What Begins and Forever, or, you know what I mean? All those, like, everyone's, they suck. And I was like, it's so campy. Like, you guys don't get it. Like, it's supposed to be fun. It's not
a movie,
like...
you know?
Well, it was a throwback to more 60s Batman type stuff.
Yeah, it's very comic booky. And, like, I just don't think people understood it in that sense. Because it's, like, obviously, there's, like, Dark Knight and stuff like that now. That's, like, it's so dark. It's so moody. It's so da-da-da-da-da. But it's just, like... Okay, cool. Like, fine. I've seen that though. You know what I mean?
It played into the hyper-realism of everything. I mean, you know, that's what everybody kind of was. I mean, it had its moment, and then I think people really were okay, well, I want something darker and grittier. And I think we're also coming out of that era of everything needs to be, grounded in realism. You know?
Everything's all color graded, super just, no color and stuff like that. Very neutral, very dark tones. And I'm just like, I mean, it's a vibe, it's an aesthetic, but I just like, can we just get out of that, please?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you don't get the Batman with Robert Pattinson without the Dark Knight. You know what I mean? In the movie
Matt
that came
Reeves
before.
Batman.
You know? So...
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, people decided, the America decided what they wanted out of Batman. And it's because this is the thing is, like, the comics history of Batman is very different than, like, the movie history of Batman, where it's, like, for Batman's, like, up from the 30s with the Bill Finger stuff and the Bob Kane stuff and all that, like, it was always much more light, you know what I mean? And it wasn't really until like the 80s that Batman became very dark and gritty, and they invented the whole like Batman doesn't kill anybody thing. Because if you read like Silver Age Batman and Golden Age Batman, it's just like Tommy gunning people down like all the time. And that's definitely what Zack Snyder tried to do a little bit with, but he mixed like... He picked and choose from Batman what he wanted. But that's like, is there a superhero who really gets more tries than Batman does? You know what I mean? Like, you know, we've done Superman, but it's really like, okay, 70s through the 80s with the Christopher Reeve stuff. And then the, they tried again in like to the 2000s with Brandon Routh, and it didn't really work. And then, it's like, what's the guy's name? The British guy, Henry Cavill, and it's like, it doesn't quite work, right? But it's like Batman is like everybody's always in the mood to watch more Batman.
Everybody's got their favorite Batman.
Yeah,
it's so true.
But this is the thing is like I think we all have you know that meme where it's like the guy standing in front of the crowd. It's like you're all wrong, and it's like everybody's got to have a movie like that for them. So it's like Cindy, you will die on the hill of Batman and Robin,
absolutely.
Okay,
and maybe to a lesser extent, Batman Forever.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, with the Jim Carrey one.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good.
I mean, it's funny that people forget that Val Kilmer got to be Batman.
Yeah, that's so true.
Because he wasn't bad.
No,
but he wasn't as good as he was as Doc Holliday in Tombstone. You know, but yeah, like what is it you love about? Well, you love corniness, cornball, camp, puns.
Yeah, I do.
What are some of your favorite lines from Batman and Robin?
Oh, okay. Wait. I want to change subject because I want to keep. Sorry. So you go to LA frequently. Well, at least a few times a month or so. So tell us about the landscape of LA, how it's looks out there now versus like a year ago or something, you know, because I'm sure you've seen the ups and downs and how everything's kind of changing. So tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, so just from what I've been able to experience working in LA as a production assistant consistently for the past year, I know, you know, things aren't really, you know, strong in LA. The industry isn't not really that strong right now, coming out of the strikes last, year ago. And so this year has been a lot more consistent for me with work. I've been able to hop on a variety of different things. I've done commercials, I've done short form, I worked on 2 features. So it's been good. It's been good. A lot of day playing, but the people that I've been able to meet have been really, really, really cool. And so I've been fortunate enough to be able to work with some cool people. There was a documentary that I worked on with it was about Johnny Erickson Tata, who's a quadriplegic, and so she her story is just really, really cool. She's paralyzed, but she is a painter. She's a singer, and so being able to meet her and hear her story was really, really cool. I've worked with Ricky Staffieri, who was on The Bear. He's one of the Facts. He's Maddie Matheson's cousin. So he and Maddie are doing a lot of cool things. So
Did
I was
you
able
get to meet Maddie?
I did. Yeah. He and Maddie were doing a short film together, and so I was able to work on that.
He's like Maddie's business partner too.
Yeah.
They came up together in a big way. So it's cool that they get to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And so that was really, really cool. He was directing a few commercials, and then he was doing a short film, and so I was able to hop on that. And so that was really fun. There was a Wicked 2 TikTok party premiere / type thing that was happening in LA, and so I was a driver for that. And so it's been cool. It's been fun to be able to work and see what the industry is like and get experience doing those sorts of things. But also being able to have time for, my own personal projects and being able to work up that way. So,
well, yeah. I think that's the thing I appreciate is that you've got a foot in both worlds here too. Yeah. Like you're still here for what's going on out here, and you're able to do your things, out here, and then you're still making your way up the proper industry ladder, traditional career path type stuff.
But I think it's also too just learning about how other people do it. You know what I mean?
Learning on somebody else's dime.
Yeah, and being able to bring that, to the IE and into my projects that I'm working on. It's just kind of finding more efficient ways to do things, more, just different ways things are done. So it's cool.
Well, we've talked about this before. It's that you've been able to be around, people who have been doing it at a high level for a really long time. So there's lots of experience to learn from, and like stuff that you can just see happen. You're like, oh my God, that's how the grips do this. Like, okay, next time, like, I'll be able to pass that along.
Right.
It's like,
and learning union rules, like if you're on a union set, like there's just so many rules. Like as a PA, like you can't really touch anything. You know what I mean? If you're a union grip, you can't touch a C-stand, you can't touch, otherwise they get in trouble, you get in trouble.
Right.
Yeah. Understanding what last man is at when we're breaking for lunch and things, like there's just a lot of different things that you just don't experience on an independent set, So that's been cool to learn, especially if you're wanting to work as like a production coordinator, as a production manager, UPM, and AD, like there's things that you need to learn, and rules and things, about, just sets. That way you can, apply them for sure.
Yeah. No, but it's just that you're really taking in a lot of knowledge too. And it's, you're able to put it to use really quickly is the other part of it. That's really cool. Yeah. What else did you want to know about, Cindy?
I was gonna talk about. Oh my gosh, I had something and it was good. I promise.
Okay, so how about back to the thing about a movie that you'll die on the hill for. It's Crystal Skull is it's an interesting one because it just was so long in between. It's like 25 years between that, or is it 15 years?
I think
93 to
Crusade
08
was like
or
90,
something.
yeah.
Okay. Still a long time.
Yeah.
And I mean, too, it's like they had wanted to change it up and do different things, throughout the course, because originally Last Crusade was going to be like a haunted house movie. And then they're just like, all right, we'll just do basically Raiders again, like biblical artifact. Let's just, okay, yeah, let's do that.
No, I something about Indiana Jones is something that had always like kind of just stuck with me. I was Indiana Jones for Halloween like 3 years in a row. So I've always, just found something that I really, really enjoyed with Indy. And so that's kind of what I wanted Jewel of the Dead to feel like. Not necessarily a fan film of Indy, but just something that I think Alexander Payne says it best when he was doing The Holdovers, where he wants The Holdovers to feel like a movie has been sitting on the shelf for like 50 years, and it's at your grandparents' house, and you dust it off and you pop it in and you watch it, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I've never heard of this before. Yeah. And so the idea with Jewel was that it wouldn't be like a fan film where he is Indy, but truly basing it off of like this, like you were saying, the serials that Lucas and Spielberg were really inspired from. And so, but then also being able to marry that with like The Princess Bride and that kind of aspect as well. So that's kind of what I also really attracted to me to it. I didn't want to just make, okay, this is Indy and this is another one of his adventures, but truly kind of making it my own and being able to bring my own, flavor of things to the mix. So that was really fun.
What's your main character's?
His name is Jack Torner.
Turner?
Jack Torner. Yeah.
Okay.
Jack Torner.
All right. How'd you come up with that?
I don't know. Jack is for some reason, like whenever I'm writing something, Jack is like always what I go to for some reason.
Yeah.
Maybe because my name is Zach, it's just Jack, I don't know.
And your band is No Jack?
Yeah. But but Torner, I heard that name somewhere.
I mean, it just came to you, right?
Yeah,
like you didn't have to think too hard about it. Like it's just like that sounds like
cool.
Fun.
Yeah, it sounds like a hero.
Yeah.
Jack Torner. So, but yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's interesting to bring up Alexander Payne because he's done, I think, a lot of movies that are all kind of different from each other. I haven't seen The Holdovers yet, but everybody said it was really good. It's a good Christmas time kind of movie.
Oh, totally right now.
Yeah, and Paul Giamatti's great and everything too.
Yeah.
But have you ever seen Election? I don't know if that's his first film or one of his first films. It's with Matthew Broderick and Legally Blonde. What's her name?
Reese
Witherspoon. Yeah, and it's like. It's fantastic, and it's a very overlooked movie, but you should check that one out too.
Yeah, definitely.
And then of course everybody knows like Sideways and stuff, and it's like those are all three of those films are totally different from one another. I think. But yeah, like aside from Spielberg and stuff, like who are some of your other like directors that you look up to? I'm guessing like Vince Gilligan is a director, but Breaking Bad was like was an influence.
I really really love Damien Chazelle. And newer filmmaker, and so Whiplash for me was like one of those movies where when I saw it, I was 13 when I saw it, and I was like, this movie changed the way I look at movies, but also too like just the way what a movie about music can do, and also too I think La La Land was a big inspiration for me growing up, but. Other filmmakers, I know Tarantino's kind of going under has got some heat going on about him and
Don't
Paul
come
Dano,
after Paul Dano like that.
but Tarantino, and I think and J.J. Abrams, I know, he Super 8. If you haven't seen Super 8,
yeah,
I
remember
Super 8?
watching that like.
I love Super
theater.
8.
I could watch it in a drive-in. Or something like that.
And that was also very Spielbergian too.
Yeah, he produced it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think just the wonder in a lot of those movies and kind of there's I enjoy the big spectacle, but also to a contained story within that big spectacle. And being able to tell a story that you don't need to show how things started or things are going to end, but just slice of life in that scenario. I mean, you can look at like. Super 8, for example, you don't know how the aliens came to Earth. You don't know this, you don't know that, but you're just following these kids in the story and how they are dealing with it. And so that's something that's how I have been inspired. Like The Goonies, that was a big movie for me when I was growing up, and so same thing with them. You know what I mean? It's yes, there's a whole storyline with the parents and the house and the bank wanting to, or the, foreclosing things, but you're seeing it through the kids' perspective, and so I think that was really something.
Goonies was Richard Donner. Yeah, that's another one that I think when people think of like Spielberg stuff, they're actually thinking of either Donner or Robert Zemeckis or something like this. Some of those. And Zemeckis is another one who's done like tons of different kinds of movies. Like, have you ever seen Ronin?
No, I haven't.
With De Niro and
Pacino?
No, that's Heat.
Okay.
And Luke Besson is in it, and Sean Bean is in it. But it's like De Niro is like this mercenary, and he's working for this like IRA terrorist in Europe and stuff like that. It's really cool. It's like, but it's no Back to the Future,
Right? Yeah.
So it's really cool when directors can do that. And I mean, Spielberg has a lot of films that are totally different from what he normally does. Like, have you ever seen Empire of the Sun?
Yeah.
That's my favorite film of his, and nobody's ever seen it.
And, well, I mean, in the year that he did Schindler's List and Jurassic Park back to back,
time,
I mean, it was like very, very different movies.
Well, and I think he was doing like Poltergeist and E.T. at the same time or something too. But at the time, DGA didn't allow you to direct two films simultaneously. And the lore of that is that Toby Hooper is credited as the director of Poltergeist. He directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it looks nothing like one of his films. It's very clearly a Spielberg movie. But I mean, I guess there's nobody like that who works at that rate.
And I just watched Poltergeist for the first time last year, and I really, really enjoy it. Like, it's such a good movie, and like Craig T. Nelson in that movie is fantastic. Like, there's so many. Yes, that's kind of something that like I really, really enjoyed about those kinds of movies where it's like, yes, it's a horror movie, but there's some genuinely funny moments in that movie. Yeah. Like, there are genuine, like, and that's what I see a lot of that in, I know you guys haven't seen this, but Barbarian and Weapons just came out, and there are some genuinely funny moments in that movie that like are laugh out loud. And it's so cool how you can do that at the same time. Something can be really scary, but also it can be really funny.
See, that's like another example of like the comedy to horror pipeline, because that
Jordan
was
Peele and
exactly right. And that guy was in, what's his name? From Weapons. And
Zach Krager.
He was in Whitest Kids You Know, which I never seen. I don't know if that's I don't know anything about that show, but yeah, it's funny that's the model is like you go from being a comedy TV guy to being a horror movie, acclaimed horror movie guy.
It's all about setup and payoff and timing and things. They go hand in hand, right? And so I really, really found that cool about. I don't know. I know Poltergeist is 1980s, but I just watched it for the first time, and so I thought it was really, really cool. It's like one of my favorite horror movies now.
It's a really good solid VHS horror movie, and it has like. It's one of those things. It feels like it should have been a Stephen King. Is it Stephen? No, it's not Stephen King. Is it? Right. But it feels like it could have just as easily been another Stephen King adaptation. Because of course, in the '80s, every movie was Stephen King in some kind of way.
Yeah.
Like I forgot The Running Man. Have you seen The Running Man? Yeah, that's a Stephen King.
He's had an incredible. I mean, the royalties on Stephen King things this past year. Running Man, The Monkey. He's gotten a lot, right? No, but that's cool. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm wanting to do with my next project, Lurk, is kind of, I think horror is thriving right now.
Absolutely.
Especially independent horror. And so that's kind of what the next project that I'm working on is but also to, blending, talking about like the kids and Super 8 and the Goonies and things. It's told through a boy's perspective. It's about a young boy who has to take a job with a drug cartel in order to pay to feed the monster living in his apartment. And so that's kind of the log line of it. And so there's definitely, it's a horror film, but there's also the Spielbergian, kind of E.T. aspects between him and the relationship with the monster. And so that's been really fun to kind of dive into and work out. And so I'm still writing the feature. So I'm hoping to have that finished by, early, next year. And so, that way when we're done with the proof of concept, hopefully I can market that around and get the feature funded.
Yeah. So it's good that you're thinking about funding, and it's like, do you know where you're even going to start? Like, yeah.
And that's I've something that I've never done before. And so that's a new territory that, I'm unlocking and trying to navigate through. Right. And so I think, I know we were talking about just different marketing techniques, different ways to people to get people on your team, you know, to be able to get this movie done, and to build excitement around it. And so that's something that I'm definitely going to start looking into. I think Jewel of the Dead has been kind of something that I've been wanting to finish and get done in the can, and so that way I can move on to this next project.
Right.
Well, you know, we'll talk about this more in depth after we cut the podcast, but it's like I think we have some ideas of what we can do to help you out with that. So we have a list of some names that we can talk to. So
that's amazing. Yeah, I think
exciting. Yeah,
I think that's something that I'm really looking forward to, especially working with you guys, is to learning that whole landscape, because like I said, that's something that I haven't navigated before. And so I'm excited to learn how to finance things and how to get, you know.
Absolutely. No, I was just going to add to that. I think, and this is something that me and Casey really we invested a lot in learning all about marketing and those other aspects that aren't just making the movie, right? Because a lot of people focus on like, I want this movie made. I need the script. I need to start calling people to actually man the crew and all that stuff. But it's just like everybody has to. This is for everybody out there. You have to think about how you want people to engage with this film, because marketing starts when you are like, even in the writing process, you know, it's like, you got to let people know, because if you can make the best movie, but if nobody knows about it, if there's no hype, if there's no followers, if there's nothing out there, and in this day and age where we have so many media outlets, right? It's like your social medias, of course, if podcasts, this and that. There's so many things you can do, and it's just all about kind of thinking on the creative side on like how we can, you know, do something with what we have and like just get people excited about it. And I think right now people are really wanting a lot of that like IRL kind of experiences. It's like, like I said, like going to even like conventions and stuff like that, especially for horror. People in horror love buying things. They love attending those things. So, I mean, yeah, we'll talk about it more in depth later. But, I think that's a thing that everybody should really think about, especially if you want to make a feature, because that's it's so important just to have something and people behind you and people excited so you can fill up some seats, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a business at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely.
Your investors are looking for their return on investment. And so being able to approach it from, you know, logistically from a business standpoint is really, really important that, you know,
the other thing is that you're organically willing to take the leap to move out of shorts into a feature. It's like, okay, if I'm going to do this, like I can't just do shorts forever, you know?
Yeah, some people are stuck on shorts, like for a long time. And I mean, it's fine if that's all you want to do, you know, but I think as someone who really wants to do film like as their job, like I think that separates you between like it's a hobby and I kind of like doing it, and like, no, this is like what I do, right?
Yeah. So. And it's not an easy thing. I mean, making a feature film is extremely hard, right?
Yeah.
And it's very time consuming.
Yeah. And you're dedicating, you know, years of your life to this one thing. And that's why it's daunting, you know, some people might not, and, you know, but that's why I think I'm excited about this movie, because I think there's a lot to chew on. So I think I heard like, you know, if you feel like there's nothing, if there's not enough in the project for you to be able to explore within, you know, 2 years, maybe that's not right for the feature film, you know. But that's what I'm excited about this one for. It's you know, I think there's a lot here to be able to dive in and explore, especially as I'm writing. Just, you know, the film. And so I'm excited for it to come to fruition and for people to see it for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I was just going to say, if you can give us, where can people find you? Like your Instagram and all that stuff? Yeah.
So my Instagram is at Zachariah_Gutierrez. You can see a lot of my work there. A lot of my YouTube channel and my website's linked to that. So you can go and check that out on Instagram. But yeah. You know, thank you guys. This has been really, really fun.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you for coming.
And we're so excited to also be part of like your next things moving forward. And we're just really excited. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. Peace out, everybody.